It's 6 a.m., and the world is just waking up. I open my laptop, sip my instant coffee, and glance at my budget spreadsheet. The number at the top, $200, isn't an accident. It's my total spending limit for the month. No loans, no credit cards, no secret income. People often blink twice when I say it. $200? That's impossible. Maybe it sounds that way, but here's the twist. I've never felt richer. No debt means no stress. No stress means more space, mental and emotional, to live. This isn't about deprivation or sleeping on a friend's couch. It's about discovering what truly matters and finding freedom in simplicity. In a world obsessed with more, I chose less. And somehow, that choice changed everything. This is the video of how a $200 monthly budget gave me more freedom than any raise ever could. 3 years ago, I was living like most people do, working long hours, buying comfort, and paying the price later. My weekends disappeared into online shopping carts and food delivery apps. My credit card balance climbed faster than my salary. At first, I told myself it was normal. Everyone's in debt, I said. But late one night, scrolling through yet another minimalist blog, I stumbled on a strange phrase: financial fasting. It wasn't about saving every cent, it was about learning what you actually need. That line hit me harder than any bill ever had. So, I started reading more. Stories about people trading skills instead of money, living from tiny budgets and still managing to travel, eat well, and stay sane. They didn't sound poor. They sounded free. I realized I wasn't chasing money. I was chasing calm. And calm, apparently, didn't cost much. One evening, I sat with my notebook and a single question: what would happen if I lived on $200 a month? The idea felt reckless. How could I possibly make it work? Rent alone was a monster. Food, transport, social life, everything screamed impossible. Yet something inside me wanted to try. Instead of cutting everything, I decided to redesign everything. What if I didn't need to own as much? What if community, creativity, and small swaps could fill the gaps? Friends laughed when I told them, "You'll last a week." But I wasn't trying to prove them wrong. I was trying to prove to myself that freedom isn't tied to a paycheck. So I set the rules: $200 cash, no credit cards, no excuses. A 30-day experiment in radical simplicity. And that's when I began to learn how little it actually takes to live fully. The budget blueprint. My $200 monthly budget wasn't about extreme frugality. It was about intelligent design. I wasn't trying to punish myself. I was building a system that made spending simple, light, and guilt-free. First, I divided the money into clear life zones. Food, $80. I stopped buying groceries like I was stocking a restaurant. I learned to plan 3 base meals per week and remix them creatively. Farmers markets became my gold mine, especially near closing hours when vendors sold leftovers cheap. I also joined a community garden, which gave me free herbs and vegetables in exchange for a few hours of work. I cooked in batches, froze portions, and learned to remix leftovers creatively. A bowl of rice could become stir-fry, soup, or breakfast porridge with a few tweaks. I also joined a local community garden, trading 3 hours of help for free vegetables and herbs. Utilities and communication, $40. I cut back on Wi-Fi and switched to a cheaper data-only plan. I shared a streaming account with a friend and learned that silence, not Netflix, can be restorative. Transportation, $30. I sold my car months earlier, a decision that changed everything. I began walking and cycling more, which saved money and improved my mental health. On rainy days, I shared rides with neighbors or used community carpools. Learning and Joy Fund, $30. Every month, I set aside a small freedom fund. It could go toward a used book, a digital course, or a spontaneous coffee with a friend. This tiny budget wasn't for things I needed. It was for staying human. This was my sole budget. It could go to a used book, a secondhand guitar, or a digital course. It kept me curious. It reminded me that joy doesn't need to be expensive. It just needs attention. Emergency and flex fund, $20, because something always comes up. I learned that even a small cushion brings big peace of mind, because even the best plans need breathing room. A small cushion meant no panic when life surprised me. By the end of each month, something unexpected happened. I didn't feel restricted. I felt in control. For the first time, money wasn't running me. I was running it. At the end of the month, I didn't feel deprived. I felt focused. Every dollar had a purpose, and so did I. Before we get into the more unusual tricks I used to stretch this $200 even further, I'd highly recommend that you subscribe to this channel if you want daily, practical tips on saving money, living simply, and building financial freedom without stress. And don't forget to like this video and share it with a friend who could use a financial reset too. My unusual strategies and hacks. Living on $200 a month didn't mean living small. It meant living smart. I didn't survive by counting coins or clipping endless coupons. I thrived by rethinking how value moves through life. Money is only one kind of currency. Time, skill, and community are others. Here are the hacks that changed everything. 1. Reverse budgeting. Instead of splitting my $200 into rigid categories, I treated each day like it came with a small credit, around $6. Some days, I spent nothing and saved it for a weekend treat. Other days, I spent more on groceries or a friend's birthday. This daily rhythm gave me flexibility without guilt. 2. Skill bartering. I began trading what I was good at, writing, editing, or design, for what I needed. A friend offered me meals in exchange for help with her online shop. Another gave me coffee beans for tutoring her son. It felt old-fashioned, but deeply human. 3. Subscription cycling. Instead of paying for 5 streaming platforms every month, I subscribed to one at a time. Netflix in January, Spotify in February, Disney Plus in March. When I paused the others, I didn't lose access to joy. I gained focus. 4. Community pooling. 3 neighbors and I started a micro co-op. We bought bulk items like rice, detergent, and soap, then split the cost. Prices dropped by half, and friendships grew twice as fast. 5. Zero spend days. Twice a week, I challenged myself to spend absolutely nothing, not a cent. Those days turned into creativity labs. I rediscovered forgotten recipes, free events, and the quiet joy of doing nothing that costs money. What I learned was simple but powerful. When you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator, even $200 feels like abundance. In the beginning, living on $200 felt like walking a tightrope. Every purchase came with a small rush of anxiety. What if I run out? But something interesting happened around week 3. Instead of feeling restricted, I felt awake. When you only spend on what truly matters, your choices become sharper. I stopped buying things to feel better and started doing things to feel alive, taking long walks, journaling, cooking from scratch. I realized that comfort had fooled me into confusion. I wasn't sad, I was just overstimulated. There were tough days too, like skipping a dinner invite because it didn't fit the budget. But each small no gave me a larger yes somewhere else. More peace, more creativity, more control. In a world where stress is sold as normal, the real rebellion is calm. And calm, I found, costs almost nothing. 3 months later, I looked back at my experiment and realized something shocking. I hadn't just saved money, I had changed my brain. My total spending dropped by 70%, but my satisfaction doubled. I no longer measured success by things I owned, but by the mornings I woke up without dread. My debt was gone. My sleep improved. Even my social life became richer because I started valuing time and conversation more than transactions. Friends noticed. "You seem lighter," one said. And they were right. Living small didn't shrink my world, it expanded it. The biggest surprise? I didn't want to go back. Once you experience life without financial panic, it's hard to trade it for convenience again. This experiment started as a personal challenge, but it became a quiet movement. If you're reading this, maybe you're tired too, tired of chasing bills, upgrades, and invisible expectations. You don't need to copy my $200 budget exactly. Just start small. Pick a spending limit that feels a little uncomfortable, but not impossible. Then watch what happens. You'll begin to notice how much of your happiness has nothing to do with money. You'll find community in unexpected places. You'll learn that simplicity doesn't mean lack. It means clarity. So here's your challenge. Try your own financial reset for 30 days. Maybe it's $300, Maybe it's $500. Keep it honest, keep it human. Because once you learn to live free on less, you'll never see money or yourself the same way again. Now, if you want to learn more about achieving financial success, then watch this video next.